As a layman, we want to know what is marketing.
I think marketing is nothing but the fact of being able to make you consume something that you feel good about.
Okay.
So think about the fact that today all of us start our day and you consume the tea, coffee, bread, eggs, something or the other as well. Why is it that we want to only have Nescafe? Or why is it that you only have, for example, a certain type of tea? It's only because of the fact that I think somewhere that brand has done so much. I'm sure that some other coffee is better than Nescafe, for sure. But the way it has, I think, done something magical in our mind. It's almost like saying coffee equals to Nescafe.
What should one person do? So what's your learning out of your cafe?
I would feel that sort of, honestly, if you ask me, I think time is, I think, the best healer. As sort of, I think time progresses, we forget that how bad that patch was. You didn't have a job for, say, 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or any of that as well. But I think if you need to, I think, think through that particular phase, I think one needs to, I think, be at it. One needs to sort of, I think, internalize.
Marketing process is somewhere they actually connect to your neuroscience process, and that actually gets attracted you to that
It's
brand.
a very simple sort of Kotler definition, which we all studied in B school, right? The IDA model.
Okay.
Attention, interest, desire, action.
Attention, interest, desire, action. Okay.
Yeah, what we all studied for so many years in B schools.
Okay.
It's the IDA model that advertising is built on, marketing is built on, right?
Then why some of the brands or some of the branding initiative gets failed?
Fantastic question. Well, I think sometimes product itself is not required to be created.
Okay.
Sometimes, R&D was not good. So many things, right? It's not about, I think, just marketing failed. There could be about the fact that maybe they were too early for their day. There's so many concepts and so many things which you look back, you know what? They were too early for its time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Between the Lines, marketing. Very common word we use day in, day out. We normally say that I'm going for marketing. I'm working in marketing department, sales and marketing. So for us, marketing is just buying things. But when we go and understand, and when we talk about company and product, marketing is not just a term. It is more than that. It's a bigger game. It's a bigger process. Then what is marketing? And when we talk about marketing, it connects us with brands and branding. We get attracted to a lot of brands. But many times it happens that we don't understand the essence of that brand or the process or the product. But still, we get attracted to brand. So what is this brand and branding? I think it is very interesting to know about marketing and branding. We should explore this. And yes, we will get to know today because today our guest is Dr. Kushal Sanghvi. Mr. Kushal Sanghvi is a marketing genius. He carries more than 27 years of experience in marketing and branding. He has been associated with many niche brands like Reliance Entertainment and Digital, Ad Labs, Niti Aayog, and Rediff.com. He's very creative and has been to both the side of podcast. He's also known as Voice of LinkedIn, avid traveler, and has traveled to many countries to explore the culture, people, and the process. He's one of the rarest marketing genius who has worked and witnessed all sort of media, be it a print media, television, or the digital media. So let's go talk to Mr. Kushal and increase our understanding about marketing, branding, and the entire process. Kushal bhai, welcome to Between the Lines. Marketing and branding. Your domain quite resonate with the objective of Between the Lines because we always talk about insight, learning, wisdom. And when we deep dive into marketing, branding, it gives us a lot of information, knowledge, and it is all about creativity. So it comes with a lot of wisdom also. So I feel that today's session is going to be full of interesting facts, stories, and few wisdoms also. And especially for this podcast, you have flown down from Mumbai. So sincere gratitude and thank you for giving your note for this podcast. Thank you.
No, I think it's always a pleasure to be back in this city. I'm pretty much a Gujarati as well. So if there's any reason to be here as well, it's just sort of, always a welcome thing to come back here as well.
Great to know. Kushal bhai, you have studied architect. And if we see your journey, it is all about marketing, branding, creating beautiful brands. How this has happened from architect to marketing and branding?
Sometimes you never decide what your journey has to be. And sometimes I think you have those, aberrations or turning points in life as well. So I am clearly someone who's a creative guy who sort of loves to sort of dabble in paint, sculpt, make buildings or whatever as well. But I didn't know that between that, some time or the other, that maybe I have a different calling. So, still while I'm, good at my craft in terms of doing brand building and advertising and all of those things as well, often enough, I sometimes feel that, did I make the right choice? Because the fact is, there is some part of me who is still yearning that maybe at some point, and I always think a journey is, you never know, right? So who knows, 10 years from now, I might say, done with branding, done with media, and here I am to sort of now I give my turn back to making buildings and monuments and sculpture.
But what answer do you get when you think that whether the choice is right or not? What do answer you normally get?
I think I'm someone who's always done things with my heart.
Wow.
I'm not someone who ever sort of does things with too much mind, too much of thinking, whether it's right, wrong, all of those things. So the heart told me this is what I'm feeling good about, and I went with that.
So no regret?
Absolutely no.
Many times it happens that, wherever we are in domain, and many times we struggle in that specific area, and suddenly we go into past and we regret that it was always better if I would have gone with my specialty. But I'm sure no regret for you.
No, absolutely not. I couldn't have been more happier, I think, for whatever the world has given me, the kind of mentors I've had, the kind of people who've therefore come in my journey as well. When I look back and think that maybe if I was someone who'd been an architect, would I have had these people? Maybe not. So I'm just blessed to have made this choice.
So I think you have definitely seconded the thought or the sentence that look at the brighter side of your life. That's what you are. That's wonderful. Now, let us go to marketing. It's a buzzword, we can say, since many years. And we talk about a lot of marketing, branding. But as a layman, we want to know, what is marketing?
I think marketing is nothing but the fact of being able to make you consume something that you feel good about.
Okay.
So think about the fact that today all of us start our day and you consume the tea, coffee, bread, eggs, something or the other as well. Why is it that we want to only have Nescafe? Or why is it that you only have, for example, a certain type of tea? It's only because of the fact that I think somewhere that brand has done so much. I'm sure that some other coffee is better than Nescafe, for sure. But the way it has, I think, done something magical in our mind. It's almost like saying coffee equals to Nescafe or water equals to distillery or something. But we don't realize that in that equation, which sort of happened over so many years, so much effort went into what today we think Nescafe is.
Okay.
So that entire process in multiple ways of branding, whatever, it all stems from that whole marketing theory of sort of saying that you sort of make and do so many things that you come to the feeling of saying that if someone wants to think of coffee, you think. So it's a huge amount of effort which goes into creating that brand and marketing for that piece of product.
So that means it's a process where people tell you actually that, let's say if you want to consume coffee, so they actually tells you that why you should go with the Nescafe, what are the essence of the Nescafe, what are the process behind the Nescafe. That awareness normally people create, and that's what sort of marketing which gives you some sort of
I think it's multiple things, because at one level, I think, to be very honest, the product itself has to be good, right? Today, in a world where we have so many choices, so your product itself needs to speak for itself. And after that, then if you're continually doing things to remind the consumer that you're getting better and you've got more versions, you've got more varieties of the same Nescafe, all of those things as well. So I think it's that journey that the brand also takes. Today, I think often enough we talk about new age consumer brands share, and we talk about D2C brands whose shelf life has been They've been around for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But think about it. Can you think of more than 10 such names? Perhaps not. But today, for example, can you think of a biscuit? You think Parle-G. You think of bread? You think Britannia. You think of butter? You think Amul. Why does this come automatically? Because the fact is, it is ingrained in us. Ye butter જોઈએ છે, તો it's only Amul. Or bread, if it is, it means something else, right?
Yes.
So I always say that with, I think, a lot of thinking that a lot of these new age brands, they talk about, 200 crore valuation now, 1,000 crore, and they talk so smartly as founders. कि हमें लोग को, within just 2 years, 3 years. But these are brands today that have just grown very quickly. They're probably sort of, I think, getting to a certain target audience, but they don't have that fandom.
So now when we see a lot of startup, or if we see the companies who are since 30 years, 40 years, now they are investing heavy in marketing. Then why marketing is necessary?
Because I think the world is filled with too many choices. Going back to the same discussion of coffee, or let's move from coffee to say a shampoo or a soap, or a car, or anything as well. Today in every product category, we are spoiled with so many choices and so much within every possible. Today, for example, a company like Maruti itself would have perhaps at least about 50 odd cars, and every car would have at least 20 variants.
Yes.
Yeah, with a different price point of some 10,000 rupees difference. So how does someone really understand that? So therefore, I think marketing is so important to be able to talk those differentiations and multiple spaces, because I think today that element of even registering in your mind, because we're exposed to so much communication, so much content, so much media, so many things. Life is all about scrolling. Life has become about sort of moving from screen to screen. We're living off at least 6 different screens, from a plasma screen to something else, to a mobile screen, to whatever as well. So how do you get our attention span? And so much is sort of changing in terms of us as people. With our change of lifestyle, our habits, and so many things, we're now thinking smarter to say, can I, 10 years back, ask someone that you want to have a protein way of living, it wasn't heard of. Today, we're talking that language. We're talking of no sugar and so many things, and so many other things which are part of a new culture, a new lifestyle. So because of that lifestyle, because of that sort of, I think, new thing in our life, there are at least 10 more products in the same offering for us. There's a shampoo which will tell you this is good. Some shampoo will tell you this is for this. So I think it is so critical today to be able to be, I think, capturing some consumer attention, which is why I think it becomes more and more critical for marketers to do things smartly, wisely, and create for impact.
So that means, let's say, if we take an example of Maruti, few years back, Kia came into the market. So if one segment or one product is doing better than other, so that means, and technically, when we talk about the four-wheeler or a car, technically, almost the technique is same. Accessories are almost same. Design is almost same. But still, one product is, or one company is doing better than others. So that means the company which is doing better, is it true that they are focusing a lot on the marketing? That's why they are doing better. Is it so?
So yes and no, because one is the function is that yes, they're doing a better job at marketing, but the second could also be better product itself. So today there are enough companies in the world which don't necessarily do spend crazy amount of money on marketing, but it's such a great product itself, right? So think, for example, like an Apple. Because now it spends a lot of money because of competition as well, right? But there was a time when they would not spend as much. Or there would be so many such examples. I can tell you that, yes, you don't need to spend because you have a great product as well. But having said that, I think it is critical to be able to, I think, speak regularly and reinforce for any category, whether it's potato chips, whether it's washing powder, whether it's a car, whether any single thing. If you're not going to be seen, if you're not going to really shout out to the consumer that you have a new offering, product, something as well, you never get noticed. Today, retail shelves. You go into a supermarket, you go on Blinkit, you go anywhere. Literally every space has about 300, 400, 500 options. Then how do you pick literally that potato chip?
So that means, Kushal, if I say that if I want to put something forward to people, one has to be vocal. That's what one thing I get out of this marketing game. That if I want to throw some thought and want to get imbibed into somebody's mind, I think I have to be vocal. That means in marketing, one has to be vocal.
Oh yes.
Now, Between the Lines is all about journey of people, Kushal bhai, and we have started that studying from studying architect to the marketing and branding. But journey, I always say that journey is more important than destination. And when we talk about journey, there is always highs and lows, and you may come across tough phase or some sort of struggle, maybe professionally, personally, physically. Do you have any sort of lows or the tough phase in your journey?
Yes, I think all of us go through, I think, those highs and those lows as well. Sometimes those highs can be about not necessarily perhaps having the right manager or the right leader to guide you. And I've been in situations where, my immediate manager was not someone that I really sort of felt good about. And I thought that maybe my learning curve is stopping or the fact that I'm not growing enough. And that's the time you decide that, hey, you know what, maybe it's time to think. And maybe you don't need to be in this organization because you may be in a great company. But if your immediate manager or leader is someone who you can't resonate with, you feel that you're not learning enough. So there have been those times where I've decided on my own that maybe I'm not able, the company is great, but am I able to grow? Am I able to learn? Am I able to sort of do things in a different manner? Because you've got to evolve as a person itself. So there have been those moments where I've sort of decided to move on and I've not had a job, for example, as my next calling, where I'm going to go. So let's face it, there could be times when you don't necessarily have the security in your sort of literally baggage to sort of know that, hey, you're going to get your next month's salary check. So there has been those lows in terms of, yes, defining moments that you don't know what you're going to be doing because you've got to pay your EMI and many other things as well. Those are practical things to sort of consider as well. So there have been those times, and God has been kind where I've also had, I think, great highs where I've also sort of, when I've not had, for example, great managers, I've had exceptionally good people. And those people have really, I think, made me, I think, who I am today.
So what's your learning out of this tough phase? Let's say if somebody is facing a tough phase and somewhere he sees the end of the life, what should one person do? So what's your learning out of your tough phase?
I would feel that sort of, honestly, if you ask me, I think time is, I think, the best healer. As sort of, I think, time progresses, we forget that how bad that patch was. Whether you didn't have a job for, say, 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or any of that as well. But I think if you need to, I think, think through that particular phase, I think one needs to, I think, be at it. One needs to sort of, I think, internalize what, for example, didn't work right with him. Also, the point is sort of, I think, if you're able to sort of almost be positive to think that things are going to be right. And this is just a phase. So if you sort of, I think, look at it from that lens and do not be continually sort of feeling like, oh God, life is over, I'm in the worst patch or any of those sort of situations. So I'm also someone who believes a lot in karma. And the fact that I think, it's good to be doing those good deeds and we sort of are in this universe because we have a reason to play and a part to play. So I think I've always, and I think maybe it's also been my upbringing as well, which sort of, I think, makes me sort of almost never, I think, feel shattered when I've had my lowest moment. And it's not about just moments in terms of, I think, those patches in your life. One could also have a bad day. For some reason, the day wasn't good. It didn't plan out to be. You had 2 good meetings. You had to sort of do you had to close a deal. Didn't happen. And you could not necessarily sort of have a good day as well. But it's never sort of, I think, kind of taken away from, my passion or the way I work as a person.
So whenever you are in that tough phase, and when we talk about upbringing, so upbringing always, your family, parents, and very near family members, they play a major role. So in such situation, What is one advice or one, the backup line you have received from your family members, maybe your parents or any very near member, which has become a strong pillar to hang on and move on?
I think for me, the most important person in my life is my mom.
Okay.
She's been like a rock solid support system all along, pretty much as well. And we come from a family which is fairly middle class, seen the worst phases, seen the good phases. God has been kind as well. And she's always told me sort of one thing is that, I think God gives you this ups and downs just to keep making you feel that you're a part of his world. Because if you're going to literally be in a constant space of continually climbing, you'll never feel a joy every day.
Okay.
But if you're going to be suddenly down and so bad that even the little sweet success makes you bring out that biggest smile.
Amazing thought.
So you have to have those ups and downs, because the low and the high, I think the connection between when you're really down and you start to come up, that joy is so fascinating. But if you try to think back, the biggest 1,000-watt smiles you would have got when you sort of, in fact, clinched something, did something right, when you came out of that worst patch.
Beautiful thought. I think I remind of one sentence I've heard somewhere else. This was spoken by one of the very known personality. I forgot the name. Bottom of one mountain is top of another mountain. So keep climbing. I think that's what resonates with the kind of advice you have received from your parents. Beautiful, I think.
Yeah.
Now, you are doctorate, you have done PhD in a very niche or very creative subject, which is called visual communication. Though the essence or the actual research is a different or more in detail, but in one word, I can say it's a visual communication. If you can just elaborate, what is this?
So I'm someone who's always fascinated by people and people's minds, how they think, how they react, their triggers, their emotions, and multiple things as well. And because I'm someone who's always constant learner of, I think, marketing and, in many areas of media, tech, digital as well, I just thought that, why is it that, we have more love for some brands and less for some?
Okay.
And it started from that whole aspect of saying that, for me, I think I love some brands a lot. And that lot also happens with the fact that I think, Dhwani, that maybe it is their theme of communication, it's their content, it's their color, it's so many things, right? So I started mulling on those things. And then I realized that essentially it is about the sort of form factor or the communication which comes to you and makes you feel for, and some which doesn't make you feel for. So what is it that finally, I think, as human beings, we get attracted to? And where attraction can be, therefore, of visual, audio visual, just logo, just color, and so many different things. Today, when I say red, we automatically think Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
There's no other brand which we think when we say red, right? But there is something that Coca-Cola has done over the years. Yeah. Today, for example, it's Christmas season. Santa Claus is everywhere as well. Whoever knows, does everyone even realize that there was Santa Claus for years? Coca-Cola made him become red.
True.
And that's really the power of a great brand. And so I think my entire, genesis to do this PhD was to sort of, get closer to understanding that what drives human connection to brand through what they do in terms of visual. And it's neural, of course, but it's also very scientific, because the fact is, one is that a piece of communication sticks on your mind. But then after sticking on your mind, is it coming to the fact of saying that, hey, it's a low involvement product, so just buy it and finish it? But it's a very high involvement product. So the high involvement product could be about the denim that you're wearing, it could be the perfume that you're carrying or the liquor that you're consuming, because these are very high involvement products, and you feel good about those things you consume, what you wear, what you consume. So therefore, even those same brands, when they speak to you, how they speak to you and some stuff. So it was a great learning for me to, understand really in terms of all of those little things which somewhere make this lovely picture. Yeah. So today, for example, we talk about Van Gogh's lovely paintings and pictures, but what was in the sunflowers? Was it all of it together, or was it just the color yellow? What was that picture about? People talk about the Mona Lisa, but what was the Mona Lisa? Some might say it was just her smile. Some would say it was the entire aspect of how she was created. But it's about, and also every human being is different. The way you will consume visual will be different from how I consume.
True.
And the way brands speak to you and which brands you like and which brands which you love are very different from me or anyone else as well. Which is why I think it's all about that human connection. And I think this whole thing was, I think, so heartening for me to study. And I enjoyed the process.
So, but do humans have specific tendency as far as the visual appearance is concerned? Maybe in a day, if I visualize something, it keeps on going on in my mind. So, is there any specific or is there any specific numbers attached to it, or what?
Yes, of course. While I studied this, of course, we get exposed to about 17,000 different signals every single day. And so many things then go through our minds, go through our day, what sticks on, what kind of moves on, and some stuff as well. But you'll realize, I think, Dhwani, that, it's not about just that. It's about sort of today, for example, the new song, which has come out and is trending or whatever as well. Why is that particular song coming to your mind? It's the same thing, that our minds are made of a certain thing, that some things stick on, some things register, you hum them. The same as with visual. You see them often enough and it's going to sort of play on you. You start liking it. The next time, you're sort of walking into a mall, you're going to smile and you might go straight to the store and buy that product. And that's, you don't realize, but there's so much which has happened in your brain to make you feel that, what, even if you didn't have to buy, for example, a bag, but there was something which that company did so often enough, and you earned your Christmas bonus and said, hey, what the hell? I can afford to buy this LV now.
Wonderful. I think very interesting. That means you mean to say that whatever visual we have, we feel that we are seeing that or we are visualizing that, but it is actually connected to your mind somewhere.
Oh, yes.
So we can say that marketing and branding, at one end we see it's a strategy or the process, but ultimately it is somewhere connected to neuroscience. That's what I feel. So maybe a marketing process is somewhere they actually connect to your neuroscience process, and that actually gets attracted you to that brand.
It's a very simple sort of Kotler definition, which we all studied in B school, right? The IDA model.
Okay.
Attention, interest, desire, action.
Attention, interest, desire, action. Okay.
Yeah, what we all studied for so many years in B schools. Okay. This is the IDA model that advertising is built on, marketing is built on, right? First get attention, then create interest, then there's a desire, and then finally someone goes and consumes it. Of course, a lot of theory is that IDA has now become 6 pillars, 7 pillars, 10 pillars. People, the new age people will say, there's no IDA now. Pretty much and audiences change. Gen Z is different, the Gen A is different. He doesn't go through the same stuff as well. But yes, I think theories are still the same. But I think the way people are now wanting things, consuming things, thinking of what to purchase, is probably happening on different form factors, right? So today you and me are different generation, but today a new generation would sort of think that, or even think, if I want to buy shampoo, they would ask ChatGPT. Did we come from a generation they would ask, say, for example, an AI agent to give a recommendation of what shampoo to use? We came from a generation where the mother told us, at that point of time, you didn't have too many choices. There was a Clinic All Clear, there was Sunsilk, and there was something else and those whatever as well. Today, a retail shelf has about 100 shampoos alone. If you have dandruff, maybe 50 different dandruff shampoos. And therefore, the new, I think, sort of evolved consumers, or the consumers who really sort of don't want to think too hard, and they think that everything is all about asking that agent or that, AI or whatever as well. So then marketing will become even more, I think, a change will happen in the way marketing works through AI as well.
So I think, but you rightly said, you say that it's basically a theory, but I feel that theory always comes from the practical. Somebody has observed and then theory has evolved. And be it any generation, I feel that whatever model you have said, IRA or, that model, it is perfect, and it will go on, because that's what user the human tendency is, that they see, they get attracted, they want to buy it. I certainly recollect that in our childhood, any soft drinks, maybe Thumbs Up or any other soft drinks, whenever you open the bottle, inside that, there was a label of Disney, or any cartoon.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing where kids wanted to have the soft drinks. This is what I feel that you are talking about the marketing. I think perfect.
Bang on. You just spoke so beautifully, and I can tell you, I'm just going to just chime in more on that as well. So I think we grew up at times that there was this lovely Disney character which was created called Jungle Book.
Yes.
And there was a lovely brand that time called Thumbs Up and Gold Spot.
Gold Spot, yes, exactly.
It was Gold Spot which teamed up with Disney then.
Yeah.
And literally under every cap, there were different, I think, cartoon characters, right? So there was Sher Khan, and there was Balu, and there was Bagheera, and there was the girl, there was the snake.
True.
And literally, sort of as kids, I still remember, great, you sort of brought this up. We actually had all of those different. Then there was a scrapbook.
Yeah, scrapbook.
Which was sort of there.
Book and scrapbook.
And we sort of paste all of those pictures under those caps. And that's really, today, imagine 25 years later or 30 years later, we're remembering this, which means clearly that there was some magic that Gold Spot did with Jungle Book, that we're sort of feeling good about our childhood, reliving the story as well.
So I feel that at one end, marketing is all about emotion, connecting with human emotion, I feel. Now, branding is not a new story, it's a very old story. But if we see last couple of years or a couple of decades, we have seen a new brand story. And especially when we talk about cafe, we have started seeing a lot of cafe culture in the country, a lot of coffee shops, and it is for the hanging out, just like CCD started. Now we have Starbucks and many other local brands also we have. So how this is possible? How this story has built up? Suddenly we have seen the cafe culture.
I think we've always kind of aped the West. We've always looked at what is smart, what is hip, what is cool, whether it's a cafe, whether it's a bar, whether it's a wine space. But as back to, I think, your question about cafes, I think as human beings, we needed spaces where we could just hang out. Hang out with friends, hang out with family, with colleagues, with peers, and all of those things. There were times when we were told that, because we were sort of conditioned in a manner, being typically Indian, that alcohol is not good. And therefore, if alcohol is not good and it's not right, if you need to hang out and you need to consume something, it was either tea or coffee. I think given that we've grown up on tea and we've always been consuming tea when you start your day or whatever as well, when this little thing like CCD started as one of the first few brands which really sort of, I think, started the trend of the cafe culture, I think they played a pivotal role of creating these spaces where they said, just go, for a small amount of money, just spend time there. You could open your laptop, get work done, or just sit around, listen to the music, meet your girlfriend or whatever, any of the reason. But I think that was the whole culture. And today, I think it's not just the CCD, but I think because I think they started it, today at least tons of companies and that culture sort of continues. And I think as human beings, we are social animals. We need a space to connect with people. We need to be in zones where we can just be ourselves, free, have no inhibitions about talking, no any qualms, even with your, say, for example, you're coming out of work and you want to catch up with your own work colleagues. You say, hey, let's just grab coffee for some time and then from there, let's proceed home. So that means that I think that cafe has become such a space for a stopover, for a meal, for anything at all. And if you sort of actually go into, I think, the genesis or the rationale of how Starbucks was created, it's written in the book by Howard Schultz as well, that human beings are also sometimes people who don't necessarily make friends easy. Human beings sometimes are lonely. Human beings need people. But at the end of the day, because the way this is built, Starbucks made a space for individuals to come out. And the person, I think, serving you coffee there, that person is your friend who is serving you the drink. And you're making conversation with him. So that's the foundation of how Starbucks began.
Interesting.
To make you feel that you're coming into a space which is yours. You're lonely, you're alone, we'll take care of you, we'll serve you a good drink, have conversation. The guy sort of serving you coffee will start making conversation with you.
Amazing.
And that's the Starbucks culture.
Interesting.
So that's about people, and it's about picking these little insights. And you're never alone in Starbucks.
I think we are giving credit to social media platform like Facebook and everything, and they have created the buzzword social networking. But rather, I think we should give credit to such initiatives. Ultimate objective was social networking, getting people closer together and have a chat.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, connecting to branding, we have seen a lot of companies, and apart from companies, a lot of individuals have created their own brand, their own identity, and they have become a person of the country or the world, and they have created their own buzzword. How this is being done? If somebody wants to create their brand, how this is being done or how this can be done?
I think there's some people who do it very consciously, and there's some who just happens on the fly or just pretty much without effort. But I think exactly the point that we started this discussion a little earlier, saying in every product category, there are too many choices. I think it's also the same for human beings. We're no different from that packet of salt or the packet of sugar, because we are also people who seek attention. We want someone to gratify us. The coffee packets needs to get picked up. We want someone to pick us up. We want someone to give us the halo. We want someone to make us feel good. We want someone to consume us. So when someone is consuming us, literally enjoying us, you need to make him feel good about who you are. And how are you going to do that? You're only going to be doing that if Dhwani has something magical around him, or Kushal has something magical around him. And when you have to create the magic, you've got to work on your own personality. And you've got to have your own differentiation, your own style, which is about how someone will feel for you. And then say that, yes, so therefore, personal branding is all in that space, because you need to, I think, be seen in a certain light. Not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to get picked up.
True.
But a generation that we're living in today, which is about voyeurism, which is about having a strong voice, which is about speaking, which is about articulating thought, leadership, and so many other things as well. Therefore, I think the space of personal branding has come into space. And also because a lot of the social platforms today give you the ability. So today with the Facebook, a Twitter and its earlier avatar, or perhaps a LinkedIn and so many others, it gives you a space to share your thought, your, what you're sort of, I think, going through, any of those things. And I think personal branding comes from, I think, a fair amount of those spaces, because I think social media and the internet gave the ability for people to know that you exist. And it gave many others. For example, you may have been in school or college or in your workspaces, and people in those circles know you. But come out of that, how many more people know you? And therefore, if you're in this space to either get people to know you, or you feel that you are someone who loves people and you want to connect with them, then it is important to create your own personal space.
But let's say, just giving an example, let's say that I want to create Between the Lines as a brand, or maybe the studio we want to create as a brand. So what is the basic thought process we should have? Like, for example, should we ask this question to self, that what, why, how, what we want to do, why we want to do, or how we want to do? Is it the starting of the process, that thought process we should have, and then we can start going in that direction? Is it so?
I think, yes, it's very important for you to be able to have, one is what I would call as a purpose. And when you have identified that purpose, the second is to then, I think, be able to, I think, get deeper into sort of saying that beyond the purpose, what is it that people are going to take out of that? Okay. Yeah. So today, for example, I think in the whole personal branding space, or in a space where so many people out there, creating their own content as well. Why is it that, some of us listen to certain people? Because there is something special about that person. It could be the way he talks. It's about the person's character, maybe the way she projects herself, her journey, her style, so many things. And that's what we are. And that's no different from kind of the actor or the sports star or so many other people. Because ultimately it's about people. Why is it that some of us like Virat and why is it that some of us like Rohit Sharma? And there could be an intersection, of course. There could be some people who like both.
True.
But there's a very different style about both of them. And the same is with Bollywood, and the same is about anyone at all. The same is with industrialists and all of those things as well. So it's all about, I think, the personality that those people have created in our minds. And we feel for them. And because of that, people start what in today's world we'll say, we follow them on social media or on platforms or whatever as well. And then they've built their own large brands.
Then why some of the brands or some of the branding initiative gets failed?
Fantastic question. Well, I think sometimes product itself is not required to be created.
Okay.
Sometimes, R&D was not good. So many things, right? It's not about, I think, just marketing failed. There could be about the fact that maybe they were too early for their day. There's so many concepts and so many things. You look back, you know what? They were too early for its time.
Interesting.
For example, right? So many times you think, wow, they came out far too early.
Okay.
And sometimes the point is sort of, I think, either they don't stand up with time. So all of us have grown, in the space of mobile phones. And all of us, I'm sure, remember a brand like Nokia, which all of us, kind of used as well, right? But at some point, a brand which was so loved failed. In that same journey, all of us started using a BlackBerry because it was that hip corporate phone. Because if you were seen with the BlackBerry, because you've arrived in life.
Perfect example.
Yeah, because the point is, you had a BlackBerry phone. The best way to communicate with a certain segment of your circle was BBM messaging, right? It was that feel good. It was the people, in fact, even asking, give me your code, right? But then we moved again from that as well. Suddenly, when the world said, you know what, it's a smartphone. And Steve Jobs told us that a phone is not a phone if it's an iPhone.
Amazing. Because I still remember when I was using BlackBerry, I decided that I'll not go with any other brand or phone. The BlackBerry is the ultimate choice.
Correct.
So that means...
but the point is either, the brand lives on, the brand stays on in some fashion, or then it somehow doesn't stay, but technology gets obsolete. The people don't have the vision to take it next level. Because multiple reasons.
So we can say they could not sustain with the trend, I think.
Sure.
So one thing is sure that one has to, maybe an individual or any company, one has to go with the flow, with the trend, I think. So that is the change, which we always say change is always difficult, but change is necessary, I think.
Oh, yes.
Now, when we talk about brand, as we have discussed, it's somewhere connected to neuroscience, and we get attracted to a lot of brands, and we have seen a lot of westernized culture through this brand is coming in India also. Do you feel any adverse impact because of all so-called brand noise in the India? A lot of Western brand, a lot of brand which are creating a lot of voice, and people are getting attracted to that. So, do you see any adverse impact in our culture?
I don't think so, to be honest, because I think we live in a world, Dhwani, which is, I would think, we live in an extremely borderless world. Because as Indians, we're traveling all over the world. We're exposed. Even if we're not traveling with social media, we pretty much know what's happening in different parts of the world. We've seen visuals, all of those things. So I think as people, we want to also consume, eat, wear all of those products. And it's the same reverse as well. So as much as we are perhaps consuming, wearing, owning a lot of those foreign brands, we're seeing a lot of Indian brands also going out of India. Yeah. And it's the same reverse because I know of enough foreigners who are consuming those Indian brands as well. So it's a cross pollination which is actually happening. It's not just that I'm consuming now a Korean car or an American phone, but it's also an American who's consuming an Indian biscuit or Indian salt or what have you as well. So it's on both I think it's across geographies because it's all coming so close to each other. And we don't realize that, I mean, in our mind, to be honest, we don't even know whether it's international or it's national or it's local or it's village.
It blends.
Because for us, we're consuming things because we feel for it. Yeah, gone are the days because so much, everything is available, right? So 25 years back, you would have said, oh, I want to, it was a big status thing. I have to wear a Levi's jean, because it was something new. But today, it's nothing. It's the same with all product categories because it's available. It's easy. Yes, there may be, premium brands, affordable brands, and all of those things. But I think it's just that most brands are available across the world and Indian brands equally as well.
Because I see a lot of parents have this concern that, their children, maybe in their teens, but they always want to go to Starbucks or CCD to meet their friends. That means they're spending a lot of money. So this is one concern I feel, that parents have, that our children are getting attracted to a lot of niche brand, which is very costly and having a lot of money investments is required. So this is one area I think I feel that,
But there's also a third wave. There's Blue Tokai.
Yeah.
And there's so many Indian brands, vying for the same space that the same kids are going to as well.
True.
And it's not just them. I think I'm here in Ahmedabad since yesterday. At least twice over. Yesterday itself, I've had sort of the most amazing coffees in local brands of cafes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now you are a genius of marketing and branding. You have been an amazing experienced person. You have seen a lot of brand coming up. You have contributed in building a lot of brands. So we just want to know if you can just give us one story of any specific brand, whether you like any specific brand, and the story, if you can say how that brand has come up, so we can understand about the branding process.
So for me, I think in my journey, I was to sort of talk about something. I think I'm going to talk about something which I worked for that own company itself. And that company itself became one of the largest brands in the country itself. I had the fortune very, very early in my career to work with a brilliant gentleman called Mr. Ajit Balakrishnan. And he was in this journey pretty much in the late 90s to start the internet revolution in the country.
Okay.
And he comes from advertising as a background. And he had this vision to create something called rediff.com.
Rediff.com, yes.
And he wanted to give this to the people of India, a place that someone could go to www.rediff.com. They could get news. They could get their email. They could also buy things on the internet. A lot of people will not know, but Rediff actually pioneered e-commerce in the country way back in the year of 1998, much before Flipkart and many others came. So I think it was a company that created a brand very early in its time. It was the first company from India to get listed on the NASDAQ. Those are accomplishments that I feel so connected with because I was in the sort of, the word startup didn't exist then. But if that word existed, I was part of that startup team where we were just a handful of people who saw the vision that Ajit had to sort of make and create. So I think, yes, because my journey has been for the longest time in digital marketing, it's a brand that I feel so good about working with, having created it, done all the marketing campaigns for people to know that this is rediff.com itself. And if you had reasons to, know about cricket scores or whatever that you want to do, you could go to Rediff that time. So that's, I think, which comes naturally to me because it's a space you also sort of worked at. You had a great immediate manager. And I think people loved that brand then.
We know Rediff is, I still feel that, before Yahoo or Mail, people used to use Rediff email. That was become an synonymous to email actually. You are an avid traveler and I think you have traveled to almost every corner of the world.
Not all the corners for sure. I still have many on my bucket list.
Oh,
but
is it?
definitely sort of God has been kind. I've seen quite a few.
So any specific thought for traveling? And
I always tell people that we have one life, and we strive hard to make good money for ourselves, for our family, for our loved ones, all of that as well. But with the money that we earn, if you really want to see the world, if you really want to understand culture, people, so many other things, I think often enough, I think travel is the best way to get closest to understanding different people in different vignettes and shades of their lives across different places. So when I travel, I'm not someone who sort of just travels because I want to go to Paris to see the Eiffel Tower. Sure, I want to see it, but I want to understand the Paris culture.
Okay.
I want to, sort of see it. I want to feel it. I want to be there. And I'm someone who's, when I travel, it's not like a checkbox saying go there and finish this in one day, and one of those things because I've, this is what I've paid money for. Travel is about really sort of, I think, feeling connected to the nature there, the history there, the culture there, the people there, the food there, so many things. I'm a big foodie. So I'm a Gujarati as well, but I don't ever carry food with me when I'm traveling. Because if I'm traveling, let me consume what is there. How am I going to go to that place and not eat the local stuff? So for me, travel is a huge high. It's a huge way to, I think, get connected to this magical world that all of us have a life given by God to have this human form.
I think a beautiful thought you have given for traveling, and it's a very interesting objective you have. So we always feel that India is a great country and we should feel proud, and India is a great country. But I feel that whenever you travel out of India, you also get to know a lot of new dimensions of life, new perspective of life, which we may not get in India also. So I think that is one thing that we get the worldview once we go out of our place, I think.
No, clearly. So I think it's important to travel globally. It's important to travel locally. I think India itself is a continent because the enormity that India offers, right from its topographical climate, right from the kind of history we've had, the kind of cultures we've had, the kind of religions, and so much more. You could almost spend a whole life and still not even see India, to be honest. Yeah. But therefore, it's good. And I think, therefore, for someone like me, I try and do these things for many years. I would do one international trip in a year, and I would do one local.
Wow.
And I would try and pick both new places to go to just explore something else, not to feel good that I'm just ticking off things in my bucket list. But I just feel that, yes, it's good to just keep seeing and keep watching stuff new.
Interesting. Very nice. Very nice. I think you have given a different definition to traveling. You have been into marketing and now digital marketing, and marketing has become a different world as far as academics is concerned. And there are different courses, entire full-time 1 year, 2 year course. What is your word of advice and suggestion, especially for the students who are studying marketing or digital marketing?
So today, I think it's almost impossible to not have digital marketing or not know that when you're in marketing itself. I think having said that, I think today, right at the school level itself, schools are teaching digital marketing as early as standard 5 and 6. So I think huge change from what we sort of saw. And I think because of so much change also happening in digital, right? Literally sort of, we didn't know 2 years back what AI stands for. To suddenly a world which is breathing, living, creeping, talking sort of AI as well. So how soon, how fast it's come. We still, perhaps you and me, are of the generation where we would perhaps type to Google search. A generation which came later did voice to search. Little generation, even after that, did picture to search. Today, for them, search is AI and search is ChatGPT or something else, Perplexity or what have you. So they don't even search on Google. And that's a change, really. So I think, therefore, the institutes or the foundation grounds of people studying today also need to be wired in such a manner that I think the pace of change in digital and tech is so much that to keep up with it, they've got to keep adding things in their course or their curriculum or their sort of, I think, ways of teaching the students, because it needs to be, attuned with time. So that's the change which we're seeing, because I think every 2 or 3 years, one new thing comes and changes the space. We didn't know 15 years back that e-commerce is going to be such a way of how we will sort of make for our daily consumables. We didn't know 20 years back or 10 years back that if you wanted to kind of look at content and video or whatever as well, there's something like a YouTube. So there have been, I think, conscious platforms which have become part of our life. And because those have come in, marketing has started happening on there as well. So they have, just think about it, that globally, almost 78% of all marketing spends from global evolved countries, 78% gets spent on digital platforms.
Oh, okay.
India, we've still, thankfully, after about 25 years, we've touched about a 45-50% mark. But I can tell you, I was telling you the story of Rediff just a little earlier. We've seen times when the marketing spend on digital was less than 1% of the overall marketing budget.
Oh, okay.
So in 25 years, we've gone from less than 1% to 49 to 50%.
That's a big leap.
And that's the leap we've seen in the last 25 years.
Oh, amazing. Very interesting.
So that's how sort of India has really moved as well.
And last point that I always want to know from our guest, that our younger generation, they are going to be a brand of our country. They'll create a brand for our country. What is your word of wisdom to our younger generation?
I think just be true to themselves.
Wonderful.
Let's not ape anyone. Let's not be and show that you are West or East or any of those things. I see a lot of the new age generation suddenly saying, I resonate so much with Korean culture or Japanese culture, or, I'm half this and all those things. But I think what God has given us is the fact that if you're born an Indian, you automatically come with a great reason to be in this beautiful country. And if you can just be, just true to who you are. And I think in today's generation, there's so many classifications, terms, all of those gens which they keep using as well. I feel that, Dhwani, they are very, very thoughtful.
Okay.
The new generation, I think, is more sought out than any of us were or will be.
Okay.
Today, even 40 plus, we sometimes think, we sometimes ask our parents and some stuff. Today is that new generation. They're the ones telling us or advising us that we should buy this brand or some stuff or any of those things. I think at one level, I think they've got it all right as well. But they just need to, be in that relevant zone to be just absolutely true. And also believe that, the world is the same world. There's no double personality. So there's no Dhwani different on social media and different in real life. What a lot of the young generation are, they live two different lives. So they have a YouTube Insta life and they have a real life. But life is the same, right? But how can you be different on YouTube and Insta or somewhere else? So I think if we're able to, come to the fact that we're one human being and we're just one person and there's one world or any of that as well. So how is it that so I would just think that just be yourself.
Beautiful thought. Be original or remain whatever you are, however you are.
Meaning, whichever way you're blessed,
Beautiful.
Just take it in your stride and be that. Don't be earning to feel, oh God, I wish I was in the US or I was this or I was that and any of that. Just be what you are.
Wonderful. Kushal bhai, excellent introspective thought you have given today. It's a very introspective discussion. For us, marketing was just, go out of your home to mall and buy something which is marketing. We use this term that I'm going for marketing.
Sure.
Brand, we always see that big names are brand, but I think you have given us a very practical, process that it is all about neuroscience. Somewhere it is happening in your mind. So I'm sure this one thing which I got from your thought is that whenever I get attracted to any brand, I think it is all mind game. So I think we should also think through before we, go to, buy that, or because many times it's a very thin line between need and want.
And today, I think, to be honest, we're not really getting out to buy things.
Exactly.
Yeah, because of e-commerce, quick commerce, or whatever, it's all there, right? So that even that time or that sort of cycle or the process is now pretty much 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, right? So therefore, even our human mind is getting conditioned to make those decisions faster, quicker, or sometimes longer.
True.
So when you're buying a product which is going to sort of, I think, make you feel that, yes, let's wait it out. I'm buying a car, spending a good amount of money. Let's be thoughtful, and I'll take my time to buy it.
Exactly.
We don't think too much if it is therefore buying a t-shirt or a bread. And that's what really sort of marketing does, right? It gives you also that reason to make you feel pause, to make you do your own analysis. If you're buying a house, even more, right?
Wonderful.
You want to look so much before you decide that this is the house you want to buy.
So I think that's a beautiful point you have raised, that whatever happens in our mind for brand, I think we should take a pause and we should decide whether it is a need or want. And if it is a want, we should take a pause and think through that whether really I want to get this or not. So it is all about our mindset, and we should think through before take a decision. Beautiful thought, I think. I express my sincere gratitude to you because you have specially come from Mumbai out of your busy schedule. You have been traveling internationally on your assignments, but you have specially taken out time for this podcast and you especially came here. Thank you so much. I express my sincere gratitude and giving us beautiful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's mine. Been a super sort of warm sort of host, and sort of I think you've been caring, you've been affectionate, and I think this state is always something which is close to my heart.
Thank you. And we keep on welcoming you as this is a close to your heart. I think keep on coming and give us introspective thought and enrich us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You. That was Dr. Kushal Sanghvi. I feel that this is a completely introspective and completely new avenue for us because we have understood a lot of new facts about marketing branding process. But as usual, we want to take out certain insights and learning out of it. Beautifully explain the process of marketing. For us, marketing is something which is advertising. But he has explained us that it is connected to neuroscience. It is connected to our mind. So one thing that we want to increase some sort of awareness. Maybe it is about process, product, people. The one thing is be vocal. Try to create awareness by being vocal about your process, your thought. It is all about saying whatever you feel. That is what is all about marketing. Do not create noise, but create a voice. Second thing, when we talk about why some brands get failed, beautiful learning out of it, that one has to remain with the flow, with the trend. That means change. Change is necessary. And as we discussed that we get attracted to brand, he beautifully said, take a pause and think through and decide whether really do you want that or not. Every time it is not necessary to get the things done or get the things bought within a few minutes. Take a pause, think, and decide whether it is a need or want, and then take a decision. And when we talk about the tough time, he beautifully said that just hang on. It is a God's plan. Your journey is basically written and designed by God. So if you have a low phase, he has already planned the high in your life. So whenever you fall into the tough phase or in your low phase, just hang on, have patience, and you will get to your high again. As I also say that bottom of one mountain is top of another mountain. So keep climbing. And that's what Mr. Kushal said, that just hang on, keep going. You will definitely reach to your next high. What an introspective session by Mr. Kushal. We are thankful to Mr. Kushal again. And please do not forget to subscribe and do not forget to read Between the Line. Thank you and stay tuned.